Hello, welcome to Nixie's Notebooks. I'm your host, and today I'm going to show you what you can do with some of the stark white pages that are on the backs of some of these really beautiful pieces of paper that you get in card packs and stuff. This is coming from one of my many journals I'm working on right now, and I really like how the end product of this. I am doing a voiceover. I do apologize. The voice stuff got really kind of messed up in this. Now, what I'm showing you here right now is that sometimes stark white is good. Now, if you can see that the blue and the flowers really stand out and really pop against that white, I think it's really pretty. I think it kind of makes it almost look like that white and blue china or porcelain. So probably I'm going to keep that on a page that I'm going to put that up against. So that way that those blue flowers will stand out. That's the point of that one. A lot of times having, just stark white paper, it's kind of jarring when you're going through a really colorful book and then all of a sudden it's stark white. I do like to ink my edges of almost every single piece of paper I use. I'm not unlike any other junk journalists in that regards. So this is vintage ink. I like vintage ink and espresso. I use those a lot. I also like to use some of the colors, but that's more for blending, and I'm going to show you what that is. Now, as you can see, this is one that I've used. That was really quick. I inked the edges, but then I also used a brush to kind of go around it, and I'll show you what the brush looks like, and I'm going to use it in this video as well. The brush is to kind of make the margins around the edges just a little bit bigger with some of that brown, just to kind of blend it in to the white paper. Makes it look more like the edges are kind of getting worn. You can do that with the foam brush that I have that I'm using right now. However, I find it a little difficult. I end up with big circles and everything else. You can do that with the brush too if you're not careful. The mat behind the piece of paper that I'm using, I use that a lot with my inks, and sometimes I will just tap it directly onto that mat first to take off the excess and then use it and then pull from the mat onto the paper. I go really fast through my inking, so you're probably going to see that a little bit if you're careful and you pick it up, but I find that's the best way, and you use up a lot more ink, and it's a lot and it gets on a little bit more smoother, and it's a little more, what's the word I want to use? It's a little more even. It makes it a little more even. You can use just a regular piece of paper behind it, but tapping off the excess, then you can't reuse it because it'll kind of sink into the paper. So that's why it's just a regular placemat. Actually, that might even be a cutting board from IKEA. I'm not 100% sure. I don't remember. I'm pretty sure I got it from IKEA. So this is me just going around the edges to kind of bring some brown out. Yeah, I'm going really fast. Not really. I wish I could go that fast. Next I'm going to do is I'm just going to find a stamp that I like, and then I drop it. Of course, I'm doing half this off camera. So I do like these stamps. I got a whole bunch of them on Temu. I really like them. I add them to a lot of journals. The only thing, or my only issue with these stamps, is if you notice it's one solid block of rubber, those corners, which you'll see, get ink on them, and sometimes you have to wipe them off, which you'll see me do. Make sure you press firmly in the ink. Sometimes if the stamp is got issues, or if it's kind of warped a little bit, it's gonna get it won't be even over the whole stamp. And I was just showing you the edges where the ink got on there, and that's something that does seem to happen. Sometimes I forget to check it and just kind of go with it, and it says there's like a little corner there, and I just kind of make it part of the design. I'm going for the corner. Stamps, for some reason, I've had a very hard passed with them. They tend to rock when I put them down. If I don't press down really hard, I only get partial images. I'm just a mess with them, so if it looks like I'm having issues, I am. So that is a nice, I've now made a nice white page with just a little bit of an embellishment in it for someone to journal on. They can then write on this page and do whatever they want on this page. Like I said, I got those sets on Temu. There's several of them that were kind of similar. I do like them. I like the little flowers. I also have some other different ones throughout my collection too. This is where I realized I messed up. So I stamped the stamp on the wrong side. As you can see when I flip it over and upside down. If I were to open it, that's the right side up. But I have to flip it the other way. So, I'm just going to do it. It's not a big deal to me. It makes it more original. I'm going in with the green. I'm going to use 2 different colors of green. This is where I'm going to show you how I blend the greens together, or how I blend colors together and stuff onto paper. I find this is very helpful, especially on the backs of some of the white pieces of paper, or no, on the backs of some of the pads of paper that you get, because it doesn't leak through. If it's a really light color on the other side, I'd be very careful of this, but for the most part, the dark colors, the inks really don't bleed through, and you can get some really pretty colors, some really pretty designs. I do really mess up in here at one point. I wasn't being careful. I was working fast and I bent the paper. So you're gonna see how I fixed that too. See, I fixed it. So what I decided to do was just make some more creases in there. And then I laid it underneath some books for a while after I'd finished this, just to kind of flatten it out a little bit. Now I'm just going to kind of highlight the creases here. That way it will give it a little bit of character. I'll make the page look worn. See there, I did dab it on the side there. Right now I'm just going in and filling in. When I do the colors, I just kind of, like you saw me rotating, and I just try to find the white spots as I'm rotating the paper, and then I just kind of go back and forth between the 2 colors. I find that's one of the best ways. You can do 3 or 4 colors too, and I have done that in the past. Just kind of depends on what you're looking for and what you want to do. You can also then, which I think I do afterwards, is you can take the edges of the paper and you can make them kind of darker around the edges, just to kind of give it, again, that little like worn look or old look, like it looks like old paper. And the wrinkles kind of help with that too. And here we go with the brown. And I'm going to actually go over the green, and I'm kind of doing it just from the edges, as you can see. And the reason why I do that, it kind of tones down the green a little bit. Like any place where I saw it was really like bright, like a bright color. I like, yeah, alright. I quite wasn't over the fact that I did that. I still was kind of mad at myself. I still am a little bit, but I just gotta live with it. So sometimes the brown or an opposite color can always tone down the colors, the brightness of the color, the saturation. It makes it look slightly more natural than just some odd color. When you're doing like nature scenes and stuff, you always want to, make sure that when you do like greens, you're adding a little bit of its opposite color on the color wheel. That way it will tone it down. Same with oranges, same with all colors. Kind of gives it that earthy look to it, which I like. And there you go, stark white to green. And I think I'm going to leave this in the notebook just the way it is, the green paper, and let someone else use it. I flattened it out a little bit. That's what it looks like. That's what the flower looks like. And there's an up close of the flower. It actually came out pretty good. Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.